Hi, everyone, and welcome back to season 2. This is the official start of the podcast, and I wanted to bring you in a little bit to my world today to kind of paint the picture um, and share some reflections that I think will really set up this season quite well. To kind of paint the picture, if you're not kind of watching on YouTube, which by the way, we do have YouTube now this season. I'm actually being on top of it. So you can always like watch all of the interviews there if you're like someone who likes to see people's facial expressions and that kind of thing. You'll see me fidgeting a lot. It's fine. But just know that is available to you. And yeah, so again, for those of you who are not watching, I am sitting in my bedroom. There are like fairy lights hanging behind me. It's kind of late at night. And today I've been doing a lot of reflecting. And you may notice this like little like glow on my face. And I've just been feeling lately a lot of hope in my life and in the world around me. And I feel like things are shifting and about to change significantly. And there have been many times where I have felt this way and I've doubted myself. And every time something big has been around the corner has changed, either I've gone to grad school or I got a different job that changed everything, or I met some really cool people that kind of changed what I was doing in my everyday life. I got some really good opportunities for speaking, things of that nature. And I've always felt something coming first. And I just kept thinking, wow, what a great story this is going to make. What a great story this is going to make someday. And so I'm someone who I love like journaling and writing things down and recognizing that like our stories are our lives. And storytelling is a tool for connection. And I think that's why I love podcasting so much, because we bring on so many people who come from many different walks of life, different backgrounds, different careers, different histories. And then somehow, when we come together and we talk about this nature of overcoming, that as human beings, that we go through hard things and we work on coming out the other side through these obstacles. And those of us who have really been dealt with a heavy hand and have been more aware and are doing a lot of like self-development work, recognize that this overcoming is a continuous journey. But regardless of what the story is, regardless of what happened, I find that the feelings of being terrified, getting butterflies before your first day of school, right? Being so nervous before our first date, the feelings of like anticipation and knowing something is coming, but not knowing what it is. Those are the feelings that people connect to. And regardless of the details of the story, that's how you find that human to human connection. And once we have that connection, we're feeling safe, we're feeling comfortable, we're feeling bonded to that person a little bit, right? And then from there, you can start to grow. You can start to step outside of your comfort zone. You can start to learn. You can start to expand your mind. And that's what this whole podcast is about. I don't know if you can hear my dog snoring in the background. Sorry. He's just hanging out there. I said, this is really raw. Like I have no makeup on. I was going to go to bed, but I was like, I just want to share this. And another thing that's like super cheesy about me, I have been writing to my future husband since I was young, like probably like 17, 18, somewhere in there. Might have been around the time when I was obsessed with How I Met Your Mother, the TV show, which they botched the ending, but it's fine. Anyways, but I think about that from time to time. And I was writing to my future husband today. And I haven't done this in a long time, but I just kind of felt like, I just wanted to. I was kind of like feeling the energy. And I was like, I've been listening to like Ella Fitzgerald and like the old school songs. I've just been in this like really like romantic with life mood. And I was like, I'm going to share this with my future person in my journal because, totally normal thing to do. Anyways, so as I was writing, I was thinking, wow, they're going to have so many stories to tell me about their life before me. And I bet you that there are going to be some similarities and themes in those stories. And that's how we're going to start connecting, is through storytelling of lived experience, of overcoming, of what you're looking for and why and who you are today, the deep life stuff. And I think that's in anyone, that's in any human being. I mean, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a romantic connection, but I think the people that I've met lately, that I'm just broadening my circle, and just some of these guests on this season, actually all of these guests, I just sit there and I'm in awe, and just listening to them talk, and their stories, and they're funny and they're heart-wrenching and engaging. And I just feel so blessed to be able to facilitate this space for so many. It just makes my heart happy. And one thing is, I've been running this platform of, it's SOS with Dr. Taelor right now. I'm not sure what it'll be in the future, but Survivors Overcoming Silence is our community. Is that it's about bringing people together and helping them feel less alone. And even if the story is not the same or similar, at some point on the podcast, usually there's something that someone reaches out to and they're like, wow, I really relate to this particular instance or theme or whatever we're talking about. But even if that's not the case, the emotions and the fears and the thoughts that circle in our head and the overthinking and all of these human things within us that we share, and these people who come on this podcast who are so vulnerable to share so openly about, that is what brings people together. That is what makes people think that they are not alone. And that is how we begin our healing journey, by recognizing it's not just us. It's not my fault. Especially when we're talking about trauma, cognitive restructuring, which is the idea that knowing and being able to change the patterns of your brain that tell you that it's your fault for enduring trauma as a way to cope. Because if it was someone else's fault, then you can't control it, right? But if it's yours, then you should have done something different. It's like that narrative, right? That maybe if I would have done something different, if I can do something now, then maybe I can fix it, right? And that's the trauma response. That's not the case. What we find is this, my therapist was talking about today, radical acceptance. Acceptance of who you are, acceptance of where you've been, acceptance of your ability to move forward, acceptance of knowing how messy it's going to be, acceptance of your whole self. That includes the pieces of you that have been a trauma response before. That includes the pieces of you that stumble along the way, the imperfect, messy human. But it's beautiful. And you wouldn't want to read a story where all of the people are the same, where they have the exact same timelines and stories and you know everything that's going to happen. Would you really want to read a book if you knew absolutely everything was going to happen and it was the exact same as everyone else? Probably not. Even what we consider our flaws enhance the story. And I think this is going to sound so cheesy and like, sorry in advance. It's the story of us. We are building the story of who we are. And how lucky do we get to be to share the story of who we are with others as we build trusted, safe connections? You say, hey, this is my story. This is me. And a huge reason that I do what I do here, and a lot of the work that I do in like my courses and things of that nature, is to get to this radical self-acceptance. And the part of cognitive restructuring is knowing that it's not your fault. There's nothing wrong with you, that trauma and your trauma responses and survival responses is actually what your body is actually supposed to be doing to protect you based on what you've been through. And society tells us that it's shameful and horrible and all of these things that we deal with. And while, of course, there are responses that can be harmful to others, and we have to take accountability for that, and we have to own that, but we also can show compassion for those things and love ourselves along the way in this healing journey, knowing that we're not going to be perfect, knowing that we will make mistakes, we will stumble, we will feel like we're going backwards, and we will get mad at ourselves and judge ourselves and shame ourselves. All of those things that we work really hard not to do. I've been on this healing journey for over a decade, and I still do it. I'm still like, I have moments this week where I've just been mad at myself. Like, if only I'd done that differently. Why am I in this freeze response? I should be able to do more with this. Why did I talk to that person that way? Why was I so triggered? That ruined that relationship. I feel like I lost this. Why did I do this? I just let myself just completely react and get scared for no reason. This what if cycle in my head just completely got away from me, and I lost touch with reality because I was preparing myself for every possible worst scenario, with the percentage of it actually coming true is like zilch. That's my body protecting me. And I can recognize that, and I can bring myself in and say, hey, we've got this. We're changing the pattern. We're doing this differently. It's okay to be scared. It's going to be okay. I've got me. I trust me. I love me. I've got this. And I think one of the most powerful lessons that I've been learning over this last year is the lesson of trust. If you knew me years ago, you would say that I don't trust anyone. And I would agree with you. I did not trust a single soul. I mean, why would I? I grew up in an environment that I was manipulated 24/7. Why would I? But I think the key to trust that I've been learning is that we can't control what others do, what happens in the universe, and what is outside of us. But when we don't trust something, we really try to. We really try to micromanage the universe. I'm guilty over here. It's a form of safety. This need to control and predict. But what's interesting is trust actually is our ability to trust ourselves, to know that we can make it through no matter what life brings us, because we can't control what others do. But we can control how we react. We can start to build control of our own emotions and our own actions, and how much we are going to internalize, what we are going to work through. If we make mistakes, we can own up to our part. It's not our job to consistently overcorrect others, because we're all human. And I think back to like old relationships where I was like, fix this, do this, da, da, da. That was trauma. That was trauma. When we get to this point in our healing, when we can allow others to exist as they are in their messy human nature, have compassion for them, and decide whether or not it is okay to be in our life based on where they are mentally, emotionally, physically. And just because we decide maybe someone isn't in our life anymore, it doesn't feel right, it's not safe for us, whatever it may be, doesn't mean we don't still care about that person, or we can't still care about the person. We can. It comes down to how someone is going to manage things. How is someone going to take responsibility? How is someone going to be aware? And how is someone going to grow through things? And the trust factor that keeps so many people out of doing these risky decisions, right? I'm going to take a risk with my finances. I'm going to go all in here. I'm going to take a risk on this relationship. I'm going to take a risk with moving to a new state that, I don't know anyone, but I'm feeling really called to. Whatever it is, there are many ways that you can fall. And in fact, I'm going to say that you can fall. You will fall. In one way or another, you will fall. You're human. Something's going to happen. It's outside of your control. You will fall and you can adapt. You can get back up. You can change your course. You can learn how to fall better next time. You can learn what led to that fall. Maybe try and like take a different route next time. Maybe. Some things we can avoid, some things we can't. But you can't avoid the fall. So why not lean into it? And as I say that, I literally visualize that actually like leaning into the fall, like tucking and rolling and like, like instead of trying to resist too much, actually keeps us safer. That there are ways so my rehabilitation brain is going. I'm an occupational therapist, if for those who don't know. And in the typical medical setting, as older adults fall a lot. And one of the things that occupational therapists do is they actually teach people how to fall safely. There is fall prevention, which is, changing the environment around you, making sure, there aren't hazards, knowing what to look out for, that kind of thing. But then there's also knowing that you need to teach people how to fall safely, and not only fall, but how to safely get up from a fall. And I think self-development is no different. We're going to fall. We're going to get triggered. We're going to feel like we're going backwards. We're going to get stuck at times. But this platform is about teaching you how to fall and how to get back up afterwards. And how to prepare for your fall too. Build resilience, learn the skills, learn the things. So when you fall, maybe it won't be so bad anymore. You're not going to break a hip, you're just going to bruise a knee. That's the whole point. Falling down and getting back up is overcoming. And, this summer for me, I fell hard. And I had a lot of shame for that. But I also was very proud with how I got back up. The resilience that I've built, the compassion that I have for people who have hurt me. And still, I can set boundaries and do what's right and move on. And know that that doesn't deserve to be in my life. And that's okay. So my hope as you listen to this season of the podcast and you're hearing from all of these wonderful people, as we're bringing on professionals and survivors and more of my spiritual people, which I'm so excited for. You're going to hear me geek out in a few episodes. Totally fine. I hope that you find connection in the storytelling and you find some resources and supports to help you after you fall. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. And if you've been listening for a while and you haven't rated us on the podcast platform you've been listening to, I would greatly appreciate it. Just help people know what we're getting here. So one of my goals is I really want to get this out to people. And actually, I very much see myself as like speaking big time, doing some big speaking engagements in the next year or two. But for now, just having this community and the growth internally in myself and externally with the platform and in the environment has been amazing. And I feel very honored to hold space and connect with these people. And I love that these conversations feel like intimate chats and there's just people who happen to be listening. I love it so much. And everything I do here, I'm just so, so grateful. We're coming at you every Wednesday, Wisdom Wednesday. We have a couple are coming out for the launch of season 2. I like to do more than one at once. And I hope you are as amazed with these guests as I am, and you take back what you need to for your own story and find that light in the darkness and get ready. I'm just feeling like this immense gratitude, light energy, just grateful for this community and this journey and everything that's to come. And just so grateful that you all get to be part of it. So happy listening. We'll see you if you're on YouTube, or talk with you if you're on any of our podcast listening platforms soon. All right. Bye, everyone.